Welcome to Stories Ascent, a channel where philosophy and science blend into gentle stories for restful minds. Here, we use simple words and thoughtful tales, always paired with minimal, hand-drawn cartoons to bring insight and calm. If these quiet journeys nourish your mind or help you find rest, remember to like and subscribe. Your support inspires more stories and helps this peaceful community grow. Tonight's video invites you to the edge of a stormy sea, where a lighthouse keeper tends a steady flame through wind and dark. Together, we'll reflect on what it means to hold vigil while others sleep, to find meaning in simple presence, and to nurture resilience through gentle ritual. Settle in as we explore the quiet power of steady duty and the warmth that glows within isolation. Chapter 1. The Light in the Storm. Night descends with a hush, broken only by the restless wind coursing over empty waters. At the cliff's edge stands an old lighthouse, its silhouette outlined by jagged flashes of lightning. Within, a single figure moves with deliberate care, tending the lamp whose beam promises safety. Outside, the world may be wild, but inside there is intent, comfort. Rain begins to strike thick glass in silver streams, the sound soft yet persistent. The keeper listens to the steady rhythm, feeling the way every drop seems to echo against stone walls. It's a music for the sleepless lullaby of storm and solitude. Each strike of water reminds the keeper that inside this circle of light, responsibility beats calmly, asking nothing but presence and small, careful acts. Hands move with quiet certainty, fingers checking the wick, adjusting the glass, pouring fresh oil with a focused grace. Years of practice have etched this ritual deep into muscle memory. No movement wasted, no sound unnecessary. The keeper's breath steadies with the lantern's glow, heartbeats softly matching the ebb and surge of waves below. In this moment, duty feels both ordinary and sacred ritual against the restless dark. Outside, wind sweeps across the rocks, carrying salt and the promise of change. Yet within these thick walls, time slows. The keeper becomes keenly aware of sensations, the gentle creak of wood, the warmth gathering near the lamp, the faint scent of oil and ocean mingling in the air. It's a space removed from noise and speed, designed for watchfulness, for protection, for the quiet as a comfort in repetition. The way each task follows the last, forming a soft chain of moments that guide the keeper through the long hours. Cleaning the lens, winding the clock, making notes in a small, weathered journal. Outside, the world is lost to shadows, but inside each gesture becomes a promise, a reassurance that light will continue, that someone stands watch, that even in darkness, care persists. Sometimes the keeper pauses beside the window, watching rain streak down, blurring the horizon. The sea beyond is a churning tapestry of black and silver, yet the light neither wavers nor dims. In this quiet, the keeper feels the weight and comfort of solitude not as loneliness, but as a rare particular purpose. Here, being awake while others sleep feels quietly heroic, a gentle affirmation that presence alone can be enough. The echoes of the keeper's boots on old spiral stairs resound through stone, a patient pulse in the midst of the storm's wild percussion. Each step carries significance, a reminder that being needed comes not from doing something spectacular, but from remaining reliable. The keeper measures time by these steady rounds, knowing that each circuit is a note in the silent song of responsibility trusted by those who may never. As the lamp's light sweeps across rain-lashed water, its beam finds distant waves, each illumination brief yet important. The keeper understands. Ships at sea do not require constant light, only moments of guidance between stretches of darkness. In this way, the keeper's presence too is made up of small interval simple decisions, repeated gestures that build safety, even when its impact is only felt for a fleeting instant. With every passing hour, the keeper's thoughts drift to those asleep in nearby villages, unaware of the storm pressing at their doors. The lighthouse stands as silent assurance on its glow, a promise made quietly and kept faithfully. Through the glass, the keeper sees not just weather, but the invisible thread that links their service to the restful peace of others, a reminder that roles we play in the quiet can change the course of distant journeys. Inside the lantern room, warmth collects around the stubborn flame. The keeper draws a woolen shawl closer, listening as the wind finds every seam in the stone. There's a meditative quality to this waiting alert yet at ease, alone but never aimless. Each sense sharpens in the stillness. Every minute spent holding vigil is a celebration of purpose, discovered not in applause, but in the silent trust others place in a steady light. Clouds tumble overhead, hiding stars from view, and the keeper imagines the countless mariners who must once have watched this same glow. History lingers here layered in stone, and memory reminding the keeper that some forms of service carry on through generations. Tonight's watch joins a long tradition, a tapestry woven of every night someone stood guard while the world slept, keeping chaos at bay with the simple act of illumination. Wind rattles the iron stair, and in the doorway below, the keeper's boots leave damp prints upon ancient stone. Each movement feels intentional, part of a ritual as old as storms. The keeper lowers the lantern's hood for a moment, letting the lamp breathe, then raises it again, sending its bright arc out to sea. With each adjustment, there's a sense of continuity, a thread, unbroken, passed down through storms and quiet nights alike. Rain drums a steady pattern now, neither fierce nor gentle, simply present. The keeper thinks of how modern life often demands noise and proving, yet here, value is found in predictability, in slow action repeated over time. The lighthouse has no need for constant change. Instead, it honors the calm that comes with rhythm. In this place, rest and vigilance coexist, each breath as natural as the roll of waves. Though the keeper is alone, a feeling of connection weaves through every task. The sense that tending the light is an act of care for unseen travelers. Each time the beam swings across water, it carves new patterns in the dark, offering hope to anyone seeking direction. The keeper's effort is humble, quiet, yet filled with meaning. Here, contribution is measured not in loud gestures, but in steadfastness. Between rounds, the keeper settles at an old wooden desk, journal open to a fresh page. The sound of pen gliding echoes the steady rhythm outside. Thoughts flow, drifting from mundane notes about tides and wind to the inner reflections that solitude invites. The keeper trusts that writing, like lighting the lamp, preserves clarity and makes sense of chaos. There is peace in naming the days, uncertain. Now and then, the storm grows bold, unleashing torrents that batter the lighthouse from all sides. Yet inside, the keeper's space remains unshaken, shaped by thick stone and time-tested design. This quiet strength feels familiar, reminding the keeper, and you as you listen, that real resilience is not always loud or visible. Sometimes it is simply a willingness to stand firm, to wait calmly for the wildest winds to pass. Every so often, the keeper glances at a weathered clock, its hands moving in soft, predictable increments. Time in the lighthouse is measured by presence, not productivity, by the unfolding of each minute, not by how much is accomplished. This gradual passing becomes its own comfort. The keeper learns to move with the rhythm of the night, trusting that the necessary will be done, that progress reflection settles with the storm, and the keeper's gaze moves to the horizon, where no light but the lighthouses can be found. In this absence, the importance of a single steady beam becomes evident. The keeper understands that making a difference does not require grand action sometimes. It is enough to hold fast a purpose, to shine persistently even when darkness surrounds, to trust that one's presence is felt far beyond what is seen. Awareness sharpens in the spaces between noise, the moments when only the pulse of rain and the glow of the lantern remain. Here, the keeper feels the gentle weight of gratitude blooming, not for excitement or acclaim, but for the opportunity to serve in quiet ways. Each small act becomes a part of something larger, each breath a soft assertion that being needed is not just about doing, but also about simply being and caring. As the darkest hours approach, a hush settles even within the storm. The keeper sits with hands wrapped around a warm mug, savoring the way the heat soothes weary fingers. Outside, thunder mutters across distant sky, but in the lantern room, a calm endures. This simple comforter beam of light, a circle of warmth, a heart attentive becomes the keeper's answer to the night, a message of assurance carried gently across the wave. Eventually, the storm begins to ease, rain falling in quieter sheets, wind softening to a tired sigh. The keeper senses the shift, yet continues to tend the light, honoring the trust placed in their hands. With each passing moment, a new appreciation is born for the cycles of effort and rest, for the lessons delivered by quiet endurance, and for the understanding that purpose can thrive even in isolation, shining steadily through whatever comes. Dawn's first subtle glow approaches, promising renewal. The keeper stands by the window, watching the horizon's slow transformation. Inside, a gentle pride fills the air, not loud or boastful, but rooted in the knowledge that presence has meaning. The lighthouse remains, its light still sweeping the waves, and the keeper, having held watch through the night, carries forward a sense of peace. The lesson lingers, steady dedication can. Chapter 2. Inside warmth, outside wildness. Step inside the small world of the keeper, where shelter is a quiet pause in the storm. The door shuts against the wild wind and rain, closing the distance between chaos and calm. Here, the scent of oil drifts through gentle air, mingling with the history of old stone. A cocoon of warmth welcomes you, promising safety and comfort as the outside. Within these walls, the wildness becomes something distant, almost irrelevant. The storm may sing loud against the windows, yet the gentle crackle of the oil lamp commands a softer tune. Each breath inside is slower, deliberate, untouchable by the tumult beyond the glass. Comfort seeps through thick stones and woven wool, and the wild pulse of the world is held at bay by this sanctuary, letting your body and your thoughts find stillness. The keeper moves through the room, footsteps muffled on ancient floors, routine quiet and assured. In this protected circle, every object holds a purposely heavy coat left to dry, boots placed with care, a mug of tea steaming on the table. Gentle light glows in corners. You sense the tension in your body ease, your awareness narrowing to the immediate warmth and the steady order that lives here, far removed from the wild's unpredictability. Rain lashes the glass, but inside it is only a pattern, a backdrop to gentle living. The keeper quietly tends to tasks, checking lamp wicks, folding cloth, recording weather notes. There is no need to hurry. Movements are patient, rhythmic, attuned to the steady heartbeat of shelter. You notice how calm settles in your chest, how boundaries between chaos and quiet sharpen, and how reassuring the outside world tumbles, surges, roars. Yet here, inside, the senses are soothed. The lamp's glow layers the walls in gold. The air hums softly against stone and wool. Even the wind's sharp voice loses its sting, filtered by thick glass. This contrast between inner warmth and outer wildness creates comfort. It allows your tired mind to slow, to drift, to rest in a subtle sense of order reigns. Items are kept where they belong. The lamp is trimmed on time, journals stacked in their quiet corner. Predictability forms the keeper's defense against disorder. You notice how the rhythm of small routines grants stability, leading your attention away from storms outside. With each repeated action, nerves loosen. The reliable cadence within these walls becomes a form of care, inviting you deeper into relaxation. Gentle light spills from the lamp, painting gentle halos on smooth stone and worn wood. Shadows move softly across timber beams as the wind shifts. The keeper's silhouette is quiet and sure, a protector in the hush. In this space, you are encouraged to slow your breathing, to let go of rushing thoughts. As shelter wraps around you like a thick blanket, comfort arrives not with fanfare, but through quiet presence and gentle. Outside, waves crash and wind wails with relentless energy. Inside, time bends and softens. The walls of the lighthouse gather warmth, absorbing each flicker of the lamp, each exhale. The sounds within are simple: the low whistle of the stove, the steady rhythm of a kettle, the quiet brush of paper. This dulls the volume of the storm and centers your senses on peace. Stillness. The keeper writes notes, pen scratching softly in a logbook. He listens to the rain, not with anxiety, but as a familiar song. His movements are gentle. The ritual of checking, tending, recording becomes an anchor. You, too, are invited to notice the small things: texture of warm wool, glow on the table, subtle scents in the air. This attention to the present protects you from worries that belong to the restless outdoors. The glass in the window blurs the outside world, transforming harsh raindrops into shimmering lines of silver. Safe within these walls, you find freedom to explore inner stillness. Thoughts drift like the rainfall, unrushed and unjudged. The contrast between shelter and storm inspires gratitude for simple joy's warmth on the skin, steady light, gentle presence. In this moment, you feel held and acknowledged. You notice how the steady environment supports quiet reflection. Here, you are not required to solve problems or anticipate new demands. The keeper's routine offers a model of regulation: simple, present, constant. As you match your breath with the gentle flicker of the lamp, your nervous system receives the message: it is safe to rest. Here, inside, your energy is protected, preserved, gently renewed against the wildness just beyond. A sense of sanctuary deepens. Each wall, each stone assembled with care promises endurance. The keeper knows these materials, trusts them to withstand nature's fury. This trust offers reassurance. There is no performance, no need for perfection, only the slow cultivation of comfort and order. The contrast between outside and inside grows sharper, but feels like relief. You settle into the rhythm within, sounds of domesticity layered against distant thunder. The keeper reads quietly, breathes deeply, checks his lantern. These actions create a pattern within the chaos, a gentle fortress built from repetition and devotion. You may notice how ease grows when you, too, allow yourself to focus on now rather than what might come. The softness of this space allows. Outside, the world's edges are raw and untamed. Yet inside, you learn to savor the predictability of small comforts: warmth on your hands, scent of clean oil, the unhurried shuffle of feet. Each moment within the lighthouse is carefully tended. The contrast becomes less an opposition and more an invitation and encouragement to embrace safety, to practice presence, to find something quietly resilient to anchor. The keeper's lantern casts light in welcoming pools, forming islands of safety on rough stone. Each glow pushes back a little more of the night. You feel how even fragile warmth, once contained and cared for, becomes sturdy. Outside, the storm may howl, but inside, the keeper trusts his routines. You are reminded that comfort is built, not found. Peace is nurtured, not stumbled upon. And these lessons. Rain streaks across the windows without end, each drop a tiny percussion in the wild night. Yet you are not troubled. Instead, you observe how contrast soothes rather than agitates. The storm demonstrates its power, but the lighthouse persists unmoved, grounded, quietly triumphant. This steadfastness offers you a roadmap for managing your own internal weather. When chaos threatens, you can anchor yourself to rituals that bring calm. You listen to the keeper's routine, hearing the soft clink of ceramic as he sets down his mug, the whisper of a turning page. Light and warmth radiate in concentric circles, gently meeting the cold that presses from outside. You are invited to recognize the power of Boundariya clear line between comfort and wildness, care and chaos. Tonight, you rest inside the line, surrounded by simple protection. The keeper checks the locks, reassures with a glance that every bolt holds, every seal stands strong. You inherit this peace sense that everything necessary has been done. The duties of shelter are complete for the night, and nothing more is needed. The outside world may demand attention later, but for now, the energy remains within, steady and contained. You find reassurance in this certainty, aware that the old stone walls absorb stories of storms past, their solidity reminding you of your own capacity for resilience. The keeper trusts this place, so you do too. The memory of cold, noise, and uncertainty softens beneath layers of warmth and gentle light. Tonight, you begin to recognize how your internal home, the place you return to in mind, and heart builds strength through the repetition of rest, care, and boundaries that keep. You hear the last kettle whistle, steam rising in familiar spirals. The keeper pours slowly, unhurried by urgency, savoring the simplicity of the ritual. This mindfulness allows the heart to slow, the shoulders to drop, the jaw to unclench. With every small act of care, comfort enlarges itself within you. Soon, the storm becomes almost beautiful, a reminder that boundaries between wild and safe, outside and in, exist for your protection. In the hush, you become aware that to be protected does not mean to be cut off. The rain is still audible, the storm visible, but these are now gentle reminders rather than threats. Through the windows, you witness the world rearranged by weather. Inside, order and light prevail. Here is your invitation to rest. Allow the world beyond to untangle itself while you practice gentle presence, assured that safety is a birthright and comfort begins with small. As the night deepens and the storm's force ebbs and flows, the keeper remains a steady presence at the heart of the shelter. You realize comfort need not erase discomfort entirely. It simply makes it bearable, creates room to breathe, to find stillness, to recover. The contrast strengthens your awareness of support. Safe at last, for these moments, you give yourself fully to the sanctuary of warmth, order, and gentle care. You watch the oil lamp flame steady itself, flickering each time wind presses hard against the tower. Light does not falter it, adapts, reshapes, persists. You too sense how safety inside allows you to face difficulty with softer eyes and slower breath. The contrast between inside and out becomes a gentle reminder. Storms will always exist, but you can build your own center of calm. And tonight, you practice returning to it. Within these protective walls, the boundary between inside and outside, known and unknown, defines peace. The keeper's care is not dramatic, but steady, and in this steadiness you find new comfort. Safety, you realize, is crafted moment by moment, nurtured by boundaries, enriched by awareness. As you drift further toward rest, the warmth lingers, quietly lasting even as wildness knocks at the glass. Chapter 3. The Rhythm of the Beam. Within the lighthouse, a new pattern emerges, one that feels both mechanical and deeply human. The light rotates in its patient circle, slicing through night with each dependable turn. Outside, rain taps its own steady rhythm against glass, while inside, the keeper begins his shift, every step and gesture aligned with the sweeping arc overhead. Tonight, the beam sweeps with perfect regularity, casting pale columns through darkness as if measuring the slow beat of time. Around and around it passes, never rushed, never uncertain. The keeper's path echoes this cadence, rounding the spiral staircase, checking the lamp, then pausing for the heartbeats it takes, the beam to complete its journey. Together, their rhythms overlay a duet of light and life, steady and sure, anchoring. Listen to the hush between sweeps, the brief pause when each circle completes and begins anew. The keeper waits in that silence, letting breath settle, chest rising and falling in time with the glowing arc. Soon, your own breathing slows to match this gentle order, tranquility emerging from repetition. In this world of routine, anxiety eases, replaced by the comfort of knowing what comes next. A rhythm as familiar, harmony builds in these overlapping patterns. The wind gusting, rain tapping, footsteps echoing, and the steady pulse of the beacon unfurling across the sea. The keeper moves without hurry, each movement deliberate, each pause meaningful. Here, nothing disrupts for long. Everything resets to the reliable rotation of the lens. Listeners, you're invited now to entrain your own heartbeat, breathing in time. A steady rhythm, psychological studies find, reassures the nervous system. Predictability calms the body, letting tense muscles soften and minds unclench. In the lighthouse, this effect becomes tangible. The keeper feels stress dissolve as boots echo the same familiar route, hands caressing time-worn brass rails. Notice how the keeper's breathing has adjusted, sinking gently to the pace of the turning lens. With each inhale, he watches the light pass, exhaling as darkness slips back in. This is not a forced discipline, but a gradual surrender to the environment's timing. With every slow circle, his heart rate settles too. Here, physiological and emotional rhythms find their anchor. You're welcome now to Within these cycles, the keeper finds companionship not with other people, but with time itself. No matter the weather outside, the internal order persists. These regular rounds checking lamp, scanning horizon, journaling quick notes buffer him against the unpredictability of the world. Little by little, the simplicity seeps into the mind, clearing space for peaceful thoughts. Repetition does not bore him. Outside, the weather might rage, waves crashing far below and wind howling past stone. Inside, serenity flows from the lighthouse's internal rhythms. The keeper's steady footsteps, the circular pattern of his rounds, each echo the spiral of the lamp above. Both the body and building participate in this nightly choreography. Even listeners, miles away, can find comfort in naming the pattern. To watch the beam cross black water is to witness certainty carved into darkness. Each arc is a quiet promise. Here is order, here is safety, here is someone awake and present. The keeper, too, trusts this rhythm. He lets his senses merge with the clockwork, trusting the next step and the step after, grounding himself in repeated motions. As you listen, imagine your own breath and thoughts gradually. Researchers say our bodies crave rhythm, from stable routines to the patterned sound of rainfall. Here, in this tower, those cravings are met. No surprise disrupts, no sudden demand arises. Instead, predictability offers sanctuary. The keeper knows the shish's mind grows quiet, uncluttered by decision fatigue, as each action follows a familiar sequence. For listeners seeking sleep, the motions of the keeper are not showy, not urgent, just honest. He checks hinges, cleans glass, wins the clock, all simple, all needed, each settled into its time slot within the cycle. This is the mindfulness of maintenance, the peace found in steady, humble care. You might notice the relief in slowing down, joining this peaceful cadence. With every repeated action, nerves relax, thoughts simplify. Beneath the hum of routine, a subtler transformation occurs. The keeper and light become partners in a slow, wordless dance. His movements anticipate the beam, and the steady circle anticipates him in turn. Neither hurries, both trust the measured unfolding of the night. This trust unlocks psychological comfort, replacing worry's jagged rhythms with smooth, continuous flow. Listeners, allow your own anxieties to drift. You may observe now how the keeper seems unaffected by the outside storm. The rain's percussion and the wind's rush remain, but neither disturb the inner harmony established here. He sips warm tea, his pause rhythmic too, a brief comfort before resuming the walk. In this haven, routine soothes and shelters, acting as gentle insulation against life's noise. Here, every small return to rhythm becomes a quiet celebration of order. Rhythm exists not only in movement, but also in sound. Listen, the muted tick of the lighthouse clock, the recurring swoosh as the lens slides across its rails, the faint drip of rain gathering in gutters. Each noise, part of a larger pattern, together forming a soundscape of reliability. For the keeper, and now for you, these repeated sounds induce ease each moment. Joins a line of motion. Sometimes we resist repetition, craving novelty or fearing monotony. Yet, in times of stress or fatigue, repetitive rhythms bring restoration. The keeper knows this. Wellhair's grateful for the predictability that lets him tune out distraction. Every sweep across water is an invitation to let go, to stop planning, and simply exist within now. As you follow this pace, let your thoughts loosen their grip, releasing pressure. Inside the lantern room, routines are both safety net and gentle meditation. Oil lamp checked, glass cleaned, horizon scanned, each task is known, done thousands of times. Yet, each is approached with fresh care, as if performing a sacred rite. The keeper's mindfulness becomes contagious, spreading through the tiny circles he makes with each round, encouraging you to adopt a slower, more intentional pace too. With this, as the keeper circles, he's not counting steps or watching time slip away. Instead, he inhabits a flow, where presence replaces impatience and steadiness breeds contentment. You might sense this ease in your own breath now, no longer controlled, simply happening. Every aspect of the lighthouse, the rising warmth, the measured turning, the echoing shoes combines into a world built for restoration. Rhythm is the architecture of peace, supporting the night. For those who struggle with busy minds or restless nights, this environment offers gentle instruction. Return to a basic rhythm. Inhale deeply as the beam travels out. Exhale as it comes back. Allow your pulse to echo this journey, letting each heartbeat find its place within the slow circuit of the lens. The keeper's calm becomes your own. Security blooms not from drama, but repetition, often dismissed as dull, is here revealed as beautiful, layered, sustaining, quietly powerful. Each return of the beam is an opportunity. Each round the keeper makes is a new beginning. There's something healing in being able to predict the very next moment, to let yourself melt into certainty and relinquish the need for vigilance. Rest here does not ask for effortless willingness to be carried. Even small rituals hold power in this tower, checking the weather vane, oiling a hinge, recording wind speed. The keeper could do them in his sleep, and perhaps some nights he nearly does, lulled by familiarity. You can borrow this ritual too. A quiet act you repeat nightly can signal safety to the mind, preparing you for rest as the beam prepares the sea. Let simplicity be your signal now, inviting every step. The science of sleep often emphasizes regularity. Wake and rest at the same times. Choose patterns the body can trust. Here, in the lighthouse, this is lived truth. The keeper's routines become biological cues, allowing his system and yours by listening to ease into deeper stages of rest. Picture your thoughts like waves, gently shaped by the shore. Each repeated sound and movement in the tower is another soft contour, forming the landscape of the outside world, with its endless variety, fades for now. What remains are fewer choices, softened focus, and the soothing monotony of routine. In the Keeper's universe, this is not restriction, but relief. He is free from dozens of micro-decisions. Instead, his care flows with the dependable turning of the lens. Listeners, you too can give yourself permission to step away from decision-making and join the healing quiet of simple, purposeful repetition. Gradually, as the chapter unfolds, you sense a kinship with the Keeper's pace. His measured footsteps and the lantern's steady rotation invite your mind to uncoil. Each cycle is a gentle reminder. This is enough. Now is enough. Presence requires no more than you've already given. The rhythm becomes a kind of kindness, softening the night, guiding both of you closer to calm. Let tranquility linger. So the chapter closes much as it began, in the embrace of rhythm. The rain diminishes, the storm loses force, yet the steady sweep continues. The Keeper's rounds persist, heartbeat and beam aligned in peaceful vigilance. Listeners, take comfort in this closing scene. You are safe, held in the surety of consistent care, your breath now a piece of the timeless pulse. With every sweep, with every inhale and exhale, sleep draws near, gentle, and exhale. Sleep draws near. Chapter 4. Senses in Solitude. The Keeper moves quietly through the lighthouse, the hush of isolation lending a different kind of attention to every detail within these old stone walls. As footsteps echo softly on wooden floors, the senses grow sharper, noticing things often missed in busier moments. In this tower, solitude is not empty. Instead, it fills each moment with new layers of meaning. Heavy raindrops tap against thick glass, a rhythm both soothing and persistent, blending with the quiet creak of aging beams above. The Keeper pauses to breathe deeply, recognizing the mingling scents, lamp oil's warmth, and the sharp mineral tang of wet stone. Every inhalation feels grounding. Here in the calm, familiar objects become vibrant. Even a simple banister carries history, its polished wood. Each step up the winding staircase becomes a small meditation. The banister beneath the Keeper's hand is cool at first, smoothing into gentle warmth with repeated touch. Shadows dance along the curved wall, cast by the soft glow of an oil lamp. In solitude, the mind grows quiet and curious, attentive even to the faintest creak. This is not loneliness, but presence, the world inside waking up, full of the distant rumble of thunder offers its own reassurance, deep and low, a reminder that nature's power remains safely outside these fortified walls. The Keeper listens, appreciating how sound wraps the tower in a kind of invisible comfort. Silence inside sharpens perception. Now the flicker of flame, now the patter of rain, now the faint vibration as wind curls around ancient stone. Leaning against the window, the Keeper traces beads of water as they chase each other down fogged glass. Outside, rain travels in unpredictable patterns, but inside, everything has its order. The familiar scent of oil blends gently with the heavy damp of the sea, a fragrance that speaks of safety and responsibility. Quiet moments like these invite reflection. Each sense finds a way to reach outward, testing solitude's depth. Fingers brush along the grain of railings shaped by decades of careful hands. Ears tune to the different textures of quiet, a peaceful hush interrupted only by the occasional sigh of settling foundations. Even taste, muted by the air's thick humidity, carries echoes of salt, of lamp smoke, of memories both recent and ancient, floating in the mind's quiet corners. The Keeper listens to the storm's progression, not with fear, but with curiosity. The rise and fall of thunder mirrors the rise and fall of breath, a steady cycle. In these intervals, the mind notes even the smallest details. The faint scratch of journal pages turning, the subtle pop as oil settles in the lamp's reservoir, and the whisper of fabric shifting as the Keeper adjusts layers for warmth, all become sources of comfort. Solitude reveals how full the world truly is. With fewer distractions, even the smallest aspects of daily life. The way lantern glass fogs with warmth, the symphony of distant rain against stone, the gentle sway of flame become meaningful reminders of presence. The keeper smiles quietly, acknowledging how this quiet noticing transforms familiar surroundings from background scenery into steady, nourishing companions through the long night. Moving through the room, the keeper's boots make soft, muted thuds on ancient floorboards. Each footfall is unique, shaped by unevenness learned long ago. Therese comfort in repetition and knowing where every squeak will sound. Hands linger on the railing, pulse steady, admiring the sense of connection to every previous watcher who walked the same spiral path. Here, alone but not lonely, the keeper senses kinship. Outside, a gust of wind heightens the scent of seaweed and salt. The lamp's light waver, just a little casting elongated shadows that dance along walls. The keeper studies this interplay, noticing the softness of illumination against the darkness. Each movement within the tower feels intentional, almost ritualistic, and the sense of solitude only deepens appreciation for simple things. A sturdy chair, a woolen blanket. As hours pass, perception shifts, revealing subtle gradients of darkness and light. The keeper pauses, listening to the way thunder muffles and then grows clear again. This cyclical pattern mirrors the rhythm of thought worries drift in. Attention turns back to gentle details. A fresh draft carries the promise of coming dawn, and with it, a renewal of simple joys, warmth from a cup of tea, comfort in a repeated gesture. Sitting quietly by the lamp, the keeper feels the rough weave of a blanket under fingertips, the smoothness of journal pages awaiting new entries. Every texture tells a bit of the story, each one noticed because the pace allows for attention. This slow, intentional experiencing gives weight to the smallest things. Here, silence is not absence, it is an invitationer, gentle reminder to inhabit each moment. With every passing minute in solitude, the keeper's senses grow ever more attuned. The pattern of waves against stone becomes familiar music, echoing through the night. Even the hush between raindrops holds meaninga, kind of thoughtful pause before the world resumes its motion. The keeper inhales, savoring the subtle smoky tang from the lamp and the constant mineral coolness of the air. The keeper reflects on how sensory details weave memory and meaning together. The gentle pat of rain, the warm circle of firelight, the echoing sound of a distant bell, all impressions that gather and layer, offering reassurance that solitude contains its own kind of abundance. Every sense is engaged, inviting mindfulness and gratitude in even the simplest acts. Here, a chill breeze finds its way through a window crack, carrying the briny damp of the storm. The keeper pauses, wraps the blanket tighter, and lets the sensation drift over skin, a small, sharp contrast to the surrounding warmth. Each environmental cue becomes a character in the nightly routine, shaping the experience. The solitude of the lighthouse turns from emptiness into invitation, encouraging presence in the quiet sanctuary of everyday moments and minor comforts. As minutes stretch and blend, the keeper becomes aware of time slowing down. Therese no rush in solitude-only rhythm, marked by heartbeats and the distant clock's gentle tick. The sensory world expands, the faintest vibration when wind changes direction, the delicate shift from cool dampness near the window to the snug embrace of a chair near the lamp. Every change, no matter how slight, feels. Noticing the play of shadows along curved walls, the keeper feels history settle in around them. Solitude sharpens awareness of the past, faint marks on the banister, the worn edge of the stair, scents and sounds that evoke distant memories. These details linger, undiminished by time. Basking in their presence, the keeper recognizes how solitude strips away expectations, unveiling a vibrant world. With senses tuned to the present, solitude ceases to feel like waiting or absence. Instead, It becomes a canvas painted with sensory richness, the symphony of rain, the resonance of distant thunder, the tactile pleasure of smooth wood. Attention moves gently from one detail to the next, discovering layers previously hidden by distraction. Every facet of the environment feels enhanced, reminding the keeper and the listener of the beauty found in. A moment arrives when the storm grows more intense, thunder nearer, rain louder. The keeper doesn't flinch. Instead, the sounds are welcomed as affirmations of safety proof that the stone tower endures. Each vibration becomes grounding, a gentle reinforcement of the shelter's reliability. Solitude allows the mind to dwell on these small proofs, drawing strength from the world's persistent details and savoring. When weariness sets in, the keeper takes comfort in ritual. Hands move to refill the lamp, appreciating the soft resistance of the wick, the richness of oil sliding into glass. The sensations are ground. Each contributes to the wider landscape of solitude. Even minor acts like folding a blanket or running fingers along a polished banister offer reassurance. In these repetitions, the keeper finds as thunder recedes, the world inside the tower feels more alevine through noise, but through heightened perception. The interplay of warmth and chill, brightness and shadow, scent and silence, builds a private universe. The keeper reflects on how solitude, when embraced, becomes a steady companion, transforming loneliness into relationship with the world's tiniest offerings. This attention. Outside, the wind still sings, but inside, the keeper is cocooned in sensory grace. Sometimes, a simple detailer droplet sliding down a window, the scratchy sound of a woolen wrap, a flicker of yellow against stone can, capture the heart more completely than any noise or company. Solitude helps reveal these treasures. There is gratitude for every sensation, every small thing noticed and honored, and for the unique. With each cycle of the lighthouse beam, vision widens. The keeper allows eyes to wander from the glowing lens to the shadows it casts, noticing dust motes swirling in warm updrafts. Even as the night lengthens, the world feels complete in its quietness. Sensory details keep loneliness at bay, replacing emptiness with texture and pattern. The keeper smiles softly, comforted by how solitude transforms even. As dawn edges closer, the keeper lingers over remaining moments of solitude, acutely aware of sensory abundance. The blending of aroma, soil, rain, stone becomes a farewell. Touch, sound, sight, each leaves its final impression before the day claims the tower. The keeper's senses, sharpened by hours of attentive presence, carry a renewed sense of belonging. Here, in solitude, the world was never empty. Chapter 5. The Purpose of a Keeper. Within this quiet tower, purpose takes shape not through applause or recognition, but in the act of keeping watch. The keeper's presence is steady and unseen, and in that steadiness, meaning flourishes. Each silent routine becomes not just something done, but something offered. Tonight, we explore how the quiet diligence of a lighthouse keeper mirrors your own. The rain taps against glass while the keeper walks her rounds. Her steps echo softly, each footfall a ritual of attention. The world might never notice, but within these repetitive motions, an earnest purpose exists. The light she tends is not just a safety for distant ships, but a testament to the value of presence. Even in silence, her steady care is an invisible reassurance, much like the small ways you. Purpose, here, is quiet and persistent. The keeper's life is marked not by grand gestures, but by everyday devotion. She pours oil into lamps, checks the mechanism, and writes notes in her journal. Outside, the storm rages, but inside, her actions bring order. Contemplating her role, you see how steadfast, repetitive acts create stability, for ships at sea, for those within these walls, and for yourself watching. Isolation can seem like emptiness, yet here it's a form of commitment. The keeper's solitude holds space for reflection, for slow, careful work. By tending her station night after rain, soaked night, she transforms aloneness into a resilient trustworthiness. You may wonder about your own hidden labor-stowed tasks completed when nobody else notices. The keeper's story reframes such efforts. Rather than lack, there is a fullness. Repetition becomes a melody of care. It is the same gentle pride that comes from showing up, holding space for loved ones, or keeping promises to yourself. In quiet times, meaning grows, taking root in patience and invisible courage. The beam of the lighthouse sweeps across restless waters, offering a moment of guidance. Each pass is brief, yet for ships in the dark, every glimpse matters deeply. Likewise, the impact of your quiet reliability echoes further than you realize. Sometimes, presence alone is enough, no need for words. Your steady attention becomes security for others. Like the keeper, you nurture safety simply by being there. An anchor. Tonight, the wind cools and the waves break, but inside the keeper's, routine continues with tranquil dignity. Her hands do what they've always done, not because anyone will praise her, but because care is its own reward. This quiet example softens your thoughts about isolation. You feel the dignity in showing up for yourself, caring in small, understated ways. Even when no one bears witness, your steadiness builds something lasting and genuine. Every drop of rain, every turning cog in the lamp's mechanism reinforces this thought. Repetition is not dullness, but devotion expressed through action. The keeper's path around the lantern room is a dance of patience. She walks it not out of obligation, but from an inner recognition that steady rhythms, both hers and your hold the world together. Simple tasks, done with intention, become ceremonies of stability. Think of the moments you've cared for someone in silence, offered support without demand for gratitude, or kept vigil for a friend in need. The keeper's long nights echo with this same spirit. Her solitude draws a line between loneliness and purpose. She finds meaning in being needed, even if only by distant strangers passing unseen on the sea. In her quiet world, you find gentle affirmation for all your uncelebrated efforts. Outside, the rain pools and runs down the lighthouse glass, blurring what's beyond. Inside, the world shrinks to warm lamplight and steady ticking of the clock. The keeper is both alone and not alone. A work connects her to every life she protects. In this space, isolation and connection coexist. You reflect on how your own routines, though private, extend care to others, weaving invisible threads of safety through quiet. Allow your breath to match the calm repetition within the tower. In, out, like the beam's returning sweep. The keeper's quiet labor becomes a gentle rhythm within your mind. She does not measure her value by noise or speed, but by how faithfully she tends her light. Tonight, you sense how simplicity can be a strength. Repetitive acts of service transform the feeling of being alone into peaceful groundedness, turning a duty. Every small action the keeper completes, recording wind speed, checking the gears, wiping condensation from glass accumulates meaning. These deeds, strung together, form a chain of reliability. They affirm that the world needs people whose efforts happen quietly in the background. You begin to see yourself as a keeper too. Your unnoticed consistencies, your patient habits, all help sustain others, offering safe passage to those. Reflection deepens as the night goes on. The keeper sits with her journal, writing thoughts only she will read. She knows that recording these moments helps settle the mind, turning restlessness into relaxation. You are encouraged to do the same at your notice and acknowledge the regular ways you serve. Naming these small patterns gives them proper weight and meaning. Even if no one else recognizes them, they shape your sense of self, quietly dig. At the heart of the keeper's purpose is a willingness to remain, to stay present through monotony, to persist whenever storms arrive. Her devotion is not drawn from applause, but from the peaceful knowledge that her watchful presence matters, even in the smallest sense. Tonight, you reflect on your own unseen journey, remembering how every night you endure and every gentle choice you make contributes to something worthy and strong, known fully only to you. As dawn approaches and the storm's intensity wanes, the keeper's work continues unhurried. She does not rush because she understands that lasting care is built through rhythm, not force. In her example, you see the wisdom of predictability, allowing yourself routines of rest and effort, of challenge and gentle pauses. Adopting this patience into your own life, you invite stability to take root. Sometimes the world values only what is visible and grand, but the keeper teaches a different lesson. Purpose gathers quietly in the shadows. Each simple duty she performs radiates trust. There is no audience, no standing ovation, just quiet satisfaction in meeting the night as it is. In this story, you are reminded that showing up for your smallest responsibilities is an act of self-respect, and you feel a sense of you imagine the keeper's gentle smile as she tends the light, mindful of the many lives her care protects. In those moments, you realize how every person is both protector and protected. The keeper's patience mirrors your own, showing that presence alone is sometimes the greatest gift. If you have ever felt unseen in your dedication, the dignity present in this solitude offers reassurance. Your watchfulness has value, whether or not it draws. As the night deepens, the keeper's sense of time shifts, defined not by clock hands, but by each deliberate action. She finds comfort in the ticking, soothing her thoughts the way a lullaby would a child. This same comfort is found in your own routines: folding laundry, watering a plant, preparing a quiet meal. Such acts give structure in chaos, fostering serenity through predictability. They remind you, beneath the roar of wind and rain, the keeper's heart remains steady. She draws strength from the repetition. If ever your own spirit feels frayed or weary, think of this calm resolve. Allow its example to guide you gently. Every storm passes, every watch ends. In the steady light you tend, peace finds room to flourish. In the simple routines that anchor your days, resilience gathers, creating a quiet. The keeper's solitude is not lack, but choice, a conscious act of being present for the world at its most vulnerable. She finds meaning not in the scale of her tasks, but in their humble consistency. In your own life, consider how giving attention to what is small and necessary can lift your spirit. As the beam sweeps wide and returns, so too does your dedication reflect outward and then inward, illuminating the worth of even. Purpose breathes quietly within habits kept for their own sake. The keeper rechecks the machinery and then sits with a cup of tea, savoring warmth amid the chill. These moments require no audience or acknowledgement. There is peace in repetitiona, definite comfort in knowing what comes next. Tonight, allow yourself this peace. Trust the value of routine. Trust the importance of the modest tasks you do. In small constancy, as the night wears on, the keeper feels a soft pride in her role. Not pride born of achievement, but satisfaction in being present, reliable, and kind to herself. She is both witness and guardian, both quiet observer and steady participant. In contemplating her, you begin to regard your own efforts more kindly. Kindness toward oneself blossoms in these quiet moments, revealing strength far from. Dawn now grazed the horizon, softening the edges of the storm. The keeper prepares for morning, her work complete, her heart quiet and full. You sense the transition in yourself as well, the turbulence of night transformed into calm understanding. You have kept watch over yourself, held safely in the subtle dignity of faithful acts. As you prepare to rest, you feel content, warmed by the gentle guiding light you tend within. In closing, the keeper's story remains with you. gentle reminder that purpose can thrive in silence, that dignity grows from care given humbly, and that every solitary effort holds quiet meaning. Even when the world is dark, your presence brings comfort. Your small acts become a beacon. Your steady heart keeps the night at bay. As you drift towards sleep, carry this sense of purpose with you, letting each breath anchor you in the Chapter 6, The World Beyond the Glass. The lantern room is quiet, except for the soft purr of the great lens as it completes another slow revolution. Outside that thick, rain-spattered glass, the world waits in darkness. Every sweep of light stretches far across the restless sea, momentarily touching distant ships, lonely gulls, and unseen watchers. Each brief flash is Chapter 6, The World Beyond the Glass. Now, attention drifts outward, away from the safe stone walls and oil-warmed air. You sense the lives momentarily brushed by the lighthouses, beam fishermen bracing against wind, cargo crews checking compasses, travelers peering at faint horizons. Those outside may never see the keeper inside, yet their paths are quietly shaped by each rotation. Each Chapter 6, The World Beyond the Glass. The rhythm of the light, slow and unhurried, is enough. It doesn't plead for attention or seek applause. Ships don't linger just for reassurance. They recognize the message, find their bearings, and continue on into deeper water. The keeper's presence matters precisely because it's steady but not intrusive. A reminder that sometimes the simplest form of care is simply showing up again and again. Chapter 6, The World Beyond the Glass. You watch the beam stretch, dissolving into the rain. Somewhere, a distant captain glimpses it for only a second, just long enough to check a chart, correct a course, or breathe easier, knowing the coastline is close but safe. These are small gifts, momentary and silent, but their impact accumulates. The world beyond the glass receives guidance without demand or fanfare, just quiet. Chapter 6, The World Beyond the Glass. The analogy grows clearer. Much like the ships, people in your own life drift nearby, sometimes needing just a brief encouragement or sign of stability. Your words, your presence, a kind gesture can be enough to anchor someone, even for mere moments. You do not need to flood the world with attention. Steady, thoughtful actions cast far more meaningful light than constant noise ever could. Chapter 6, The World Beyond the Glass. Consider how fleeting connections build quiet safety. Long conversations aren't required. Sometimes, trust grows from simple recognition that someone remains present, whether seen or unseen. The keeper knows this, trusting in the pattern to do its work. In your own routine, checking in briefly, offering calm words, staying reliable, you extend something invisible but vital. Chapter 6, The World Beyond the Glass. The lighthouse is not awake for praise. Approval rarely arrives across open water. Instead, purpose lives in the act itself. The slow turns, the regular checks, the attention to detail never shown off but always given. This chapter asks you to consider that your impact too need not be measured by applause. The most meaningful guidance passes quietly, sometimes in Chapter 6, The World Beyond the Glass. The rain song continues, striking glass like soft applause for gentle persistence. On nights when storms build, that beam is needed even more. It does not push or demand, only insists on consistency. Simple rotation through darkness, again and again. So, too, your small efforts hold their shape under pressure. Without knowing exactly who you have. Chapter 6, The World Beyond the Glass. You might wonder whether brief moments are enough, whether a short greeting or word of encouragement truly matters. Here, the lighthouse answers quietly. Ships do not need a floodlight, only a signal to orient themselves. Similarly, the comfort you offer may seem modest, but for those lost or drifting, even the smallest glow is all that's needed to find direction and continue forward into the Chapter 6, The World Beyond the Glass. The lantern mechanism keeps turning as the keeper watches, not knowing exactly who receives the help or if it's needed tonight. Your own actions ripple out in the same way so. Often you give encouragement or lend a hand, never knowing the full results. The work is worth doing anyway, because what you offer might guide someone just when they need it, bringing confidence in darkness and hope in uncertainty. Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. Therese's comfort in recognizing that influence does not depend on scale or spectacle. A moment of clarity can arrive in the quietest presence. As the beam slides over water and vanishes again, you notice the peace that comes from releasing the need for constant control. All you can do, at best, is provide reliability, a signal that endures, so others can choose their path. Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. The connection between beam and mariner, between keeper and the world beyond, is delicate but real. It asks you to accept humility in your usefulness, knowing that being available, attentive, and authentic is enough. Even if results remain unseen, your steady rituals form part of a larger pattern, one that sustains others as surely as light marks safe passage through churning waves. Quiet's Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. In these moments, isolation feels purposeful rather than empty, because you see how presence, even indirect, radiates warmth far beyond measured distance. You do not stand in crowds, yet your contribution shines outward, weaving an invisible safety net for those navigating their own storms. The keeper trusts the system. You can trust too that your Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. Sometimes you may never learn who benefits from your small acts of consideration. The ship might pass without signaling back. The person you encouraged might stay silent. Yet, just as the lighthouse shines regardless of who receives its light, you continue your gentle routines, never needing proof to keep showing up. Your quiet diligence adds to the world's reservoir of support, like a steadied beam. Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. Outside, the wind hurls rain against the tower, but inside, the keeper minds the machinery, keeping watch over open water. You too weather external chaos differently these days. Be tending to small tasks, reaching out occasionally, recognizing that you are, in ways invisible to you, a point of reference for others who sometimes feel lost. Your light may go unseen, but it offers. Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. Reflection comes in the still minutes after a sweep is complete, when you stand by the thick window and consider the ocean's vastness. Just as the keeper surveys stormy distance, you might look at your own reach, how far your influence quietly flows. No one expects you to guide every ship safely home, but your willingness to serve, intermittently and reliably, offers guidance to others who pass through your life. Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. Even the smallest lighthouse can save lives with a single ray, just as a compassionate moment changes someone's internal weather. Take comfort in the idea that each effort, however minor, may be magnified by circumstances unknown to you. In a restless world hungry for reassurance, your being gentle, periodic, unpretentious reminds distant souls that care is present, not. Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. With every circuit, the lighthouse says, you are not alone. Even at your quietest, your actions echo outward more than you realize. Perhaps you once underestimated the power of a steady rhythm, but here in the lantern's glow, you learn that quiet, regular effort changes outcomes not by controlling others, but by providing a stable point of return. The world's turmoil cannot erase the comfort of a constant, thoughtful. Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. Sometimes, all that's asked of you is to be dependable, a voice, a smile, a gentle check-in. You do not need to intervene or solve everything, only to exist in such a way that others know support remains nearby. As the keeper glances at open water, peaceful in their role, you can sense the relief brought by simply knowing someone holds watch, quietly attentive and unfailingly kind. Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. ships move onward, never pausing to thank the distant light. The keeper does not resent this. It is enough to know the beam served its purpose. In your own life, let gratitude for quiet influence replace the need for recognition. When you remember that fleeting actions often hold lasting effects, the urge to perform fades, replaced by deep, calm assurance in the value of a well-timed gesture. Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. The world beyond your immediate circle is vaster than it appears. Your reach extends in ripples. Allow yourself to notice how each choice, no matter how minor, shapes other journeys subtly and steadily. Ships at sea may never speak your name, but the map of their passage shows evidence of guidance, safety, and care. You become a quiet architect in their navigation. Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. The lantern slows as storm clouds thin, its light softer but still determined. You realize that presence, even if it feels routine or unnoticed, accumulates meaning over time. In every wave reflected from rain-speckled glass, there is proof a gentle legacy of how your habits uphold both yourself and others. This continuity, humble and... Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. The keeper finally leans back, listening to the storm's retreat. Their work is finished for now, but the pattern remains. Light will turn again, lives will intersect with the beam, and small moments of care will ripple outward. Consider for yourself what enough feels like, how showing up, quietly and faithfully, is both simple and profound, especially... Chapter 6. The World Beyond the Glass. Tonight, as you breathe slowly in the dark, remember the keeper and the ships, the humble beam and the patient rain. Allow yourself pride in every small action offered without certainty or fanfare. In a world that often demands more, let this story remind you that presence, rhythm, and tiny flashes of kindness will always reach farther than you know, giving safe passage not only to others, but to your own quietly... Chapter 7. Rituals of Resilience. The rain has eased, but the world outside the lighthouse remains hushed and watchful. Inside, the keeper moves quietly from task to task. Nightly rituals are not performed from obligation alone, but as gentle anchors in the flow of time. Each routine action-checking lamps, tending node springs calm to both the body and the mind, creating a rhythm that reassures against the night's uncertainty. Oil lamps flicker with steady light as the keeper inspects their wicks and refills the reservoirs with practiced hands. The ritual is comforting, a nightly check repeated so many times it feels like muscle memory. Every gesture is deliberate, never rushed, every flame encouraged to glow just a bit brighter. These small acts of care accumulate, layering protection through familiarity, telling the mind and heart that safety is maintained. A logbook waits on the old wooden desk, pages softened by damp curled at the corners by months of use. The keeper sits, pen poised, noting tonight's weather in quiet script-out direction of gusts, the temperament of rain, the far-off roll of thunder. Each entry is more than just a record. It's a silent conversation with the world beyond, offering of attention and witness, a moment of connection that turns solitude into presence. The keeper's movements are unhurried, almost meditative. Boots step lightly up the narrow stair as hinges sigh in gentle protest. There is a satisfaction in maintaining order, in keeping routine alive amid unpredictability. Tasks are not grand, yet each one roots the keeper more firmly in the present. The clatter of matches striking, the hum of lantern glass cleaned, each sound gently folding into the night's serene hush. Ritual makes room for reflection, not just repetition. As the keeper pauses by a window, looking out at shivering black water, a slow exhale softens the nerves. Habits become a form of self-kindness, a structure that holds the day's worries gently in place. With every checked latch and every scribbled note, the lighthouse transforms from an outpost battling loneliness to a shelter woven from small, consistent efforts. In the lantern room, the great lens is polished until it gleams, its slow turning a comfort all its own. The keeper knows these motions by heart-smoothing cloth across glass, listening for the steady whir of gears. It is here that the rhythm of routine syncs with the beam sweep, each cycle marking time with calm predictability. This, too, is resilience, finding peace in what you can control, letting repetition. Outside, rain traces fresh patterns down thick glass, each droplet carving new paths, yet the keeper greets them as old friends. With every round of inspection, there is a sense of continuity and act, of returning, repeating, reassuring oneself. Resilience is not always loud. Sometimes it is the quiet act of coming back to your duties again and again, steady hands reminding the mind. At the base of the spiral stair, the keeper pauses to stretch sore shoulders, turning the simple act into a moment of mindful care. Shifts grow easier when marked by these gentle rituals. The steady beat of heart and breath echo the rhythms of daily habits, sweeping the floor, checking that each window is locked, folding linens for tomorrow. Each small task signals that the night remains held together by dependable hands. Psychological research tells us how much predictable routines can support a tired mind. The keeper's nightly rituals are a living example. Even in the face of wild weather, this anchor of habit maintains emotional balance. The familiar order relieves anxiety, assuring that while chaos flashes outside, warmth and control remain inside. In this way, resilience begins not with bravado, but with these gentle acts. A kettle steams over the stove as the keeper waits, hands curled around a chipped mug as tea seeps into hot water. The ritual of brewing and sipping is an offering to one's own spirita, pause for grounding and restoration. Here, the act of slowing down becomes an act of care, of signaling to the nervous system that rest is allowed, that the night's demands are met with presence rather than haste. Habitual actions, the keeper discovers, insulate against uncertainty. With every routine, a layer of security is wrapped around the night's unknowns. It is not stubbornness, but wisdom to repeat what works, to anchor oneself in tasks that keep the mind from spinning and the heart from racing. Each step up the stairs, each check of the lamp's flame, each note in the logbook serves as ballast during storms, both real and ritual. Does not erase anxiety, but it does create context for it. The keeper hears the low moans of wind twisting around stone, but the lantern's glow provides a constant answer. The attention given to simple routines carves out a psychological shelter-woven fabric of expectation and response. These mundane acts hold the power to soothe, to remind the anxious body that most dangers too will pass into memory. These nightly rituals serve as invitations to be present, inviting the keeper back into the now, away from swirl of worry. As fingerprints spread warmth across chilled glass, or as blankets are neatly folded for tomorrow's use, the act of care extends inward as much as outward. Such routines become a quiet declaration that no matter the external storm, one's internal world can remain steady and cared for. There is a trust built in the repetition of these tasks. The keeper trusts that lanterns will glow as they always have, that notes in the logbook will outlast tonight's weather, that the sea's fury will ebb and flow as nature wills. In this reliability, fear quiets. Routines become a partnership with uncertainty, way to meet the unknown with both humility and gentle resolve, finding meaning in actions repeated for their own. Each action, while small, anchors memory and intention. The keeper remembers old lessons learned from lightkeepers past, handed down through stories and silent demonstration. Clean the lamp each night, never leave a draft unchecked, write what you notice. Through ceremony and habit, resilience is inherited, woven from countless nights of watchfulness, stitched together with care and slow devotion that echo across generations. Not every night requires courage, but every night benefits from ritual. Even when the world outside is quiet, the keeper checks the lamp and walks the tower, letting routine be its own comfort. Predictable rhythms lull the mind towards rest, showing that safety can grow from reliability as much as from vigilance. The simple tasks accumulate into a tapestry of Kelmer shield against restlessness. A steadying reflection grows easier in the shelter of rituals. As the keeper tidies up, thoughts drift through the day, ships seen on the horizon, letters received, memories and worries that rise and fall with the tide. The act of turning focus to a lantern or to a logbook brings the mind away from anxious places, back into the here and now. This grounded awareness slowly restores what the outside world has scattered or frayed. Everywhere you look, nature features its own ritual tides, ebb and flow. Birds return each morning. Rain traces familiar routes across stone. The keeper, in mirroring these rhythms, finds companionship in the world's wider order. As tasks are completed and lights checked for the night, there is the subtle satisfaction of belonging, of participating in an ancient dance where resilience is less about resistance. Sometimes the keeper feels the draw of fatigue, the weight of long hours, the mental fog that solitude can bring. But ritual answers with compassion. Washing up, setting boots by the door in their usual spot, or winding the clock on the mantel, each act softly says, "I am here, I am present." These gentle reminders invite the keeper back from worry and into reality, steadied by comforting routine. For listeners tonight, consider what rituals anchor you. Are there small actions that bring you back to yourself at day's end? Perhaps it's the making of tea, the writing of a journal page, or the steady rhythm of brushing your teeth before bed. Each routine, when chosen with care and attention, carries the power to settle the mind and nurture the spirit, reminding you that you are held and grounded, even through difficult hours. Resilience is built not only through challenge, but through attention to these repeated acts of care. By choosing to uphold routine, you offer yourself a kind of psychological shelter against uncertainty. For the keeper, and for you, small habits become a form of self-respect, a statement that you are deserving of time, of ritual, of comfort and consistency, even when no one else witnesses your efforts or applauds your steadiness. The keeper returns once more to the lamp, watching its soft glow send signals across dark waters. There's pride in this consistency, a quiet joy in upholding a simple duty. The world beyond is unpredictable, but inside the lighthouse, order and care reign. Each routine performed tonight carries forward the promise of safety tow, the ships passing by, to the keeper within, and to the hearts of those who in the hush before dawn, the keeper sits once more with the logbook open, inscribing a final note for the night. Gratitude mixes with tiredness, silent acknowledgement of another shift completed, another night kept safe through gentle repetition. These daily markers accumulate into resilience, legitimizing the effort it takes to keep showing up, to keep tending the light, even on nights when storms. So, as you prepare for rest, let the keeper's rituals inspire your own. Remember that resilience grows not from perfection, but from these quiet habits performed for your own well-being, at your own pace, and with gentle compassion. Tonight, as warmth cloaks the lighthouse in soft gold, you are invited to carry the same spirit into tomorrow. Anchor yourself in kindness, restore through repetition, and let ritual light your way through. Chapter 8. Endurance in the Storm. The gale howls against the sturdy lighthouse, its hunger undiminished, yet within these thick stone walls, a different strength holds steady. The keeper stands watch, not out of heroism, but from the enduring spirit found in quiet persistence. Tonight, we explore the power of endurance, not as a shout into the void, but as the soft heartbeat that continues, steady and unseen, through the world. The keeper feels each gust rattle the glass, yet draws calm from the routines that have become a lifeline. Their body moves almost automatically now, each practiced task building a sense of reliability stronger than any external chaos. Endurance here is not about grand gestures, but about tending the light, checking the windows, and trusting the structure. These steady actions carve out a sanctuary where persistence quietly flourishes. Beneath the swirling tempest, the keeper reflects on all the storms weathered before. Some were battles fought internally, where fear tried to seep in like rain through small cracks. Others, like tonight's storm, have been external, loud and relentless. In both, endurance was the thread weaving through every moment of doubt, reminding the keeper that storms pass, and what matters most is showing up for each one, however silent that. Outside, winds batter the lighthouse with a force that might frighten those unfamiliar with its power. Yet inside, the keeper finds deep comfort in the solid walls and the rhythm of familiar chores. Brew tea, walk the circle, check the lamps. Nothing flashy, nothing novel, and it is this very predictability that soothes the mind and body, offering proof that even in chaos, repetition builds an unshakable kind of calm. Sitting near the lamp, the keeper scribbles a quiet reflection in a worn journal. It is not a record for glory, but more a space for gentle noticing. Each entry marks another night survived, another round of waves endured. This simple act honors the ordinary courage in merely carrying on, in trusting that consistency, more than drama, is the secret to withstanding hardship, both seen and unseen. The storm swells, thunder rumbling in distant waves, yet inside the keeper feels a surer rhythm growing. Endurance, they realize, asks only for presence, not for perfection, not for applause. It is a dialogue between inner and outer weather, where every breath, every checked window, is an act of resilience that nobody else witnesses. The keeper smiles softly, warmed by this understanding. Rain draws streaks on the window, each line unique, but part of a greater pattern. The keeper studies them, seeing in their endless descent a reflection of persistence. No single raindrop stops the storm, yet together they create a rhythm. Likewise, the keeper's small, steady actions join to form the resilience needed to face the night. It is a comfort to know endurance is built drop by drop, moment by moment. After the most intense gusts, the lighthouse grows almost peaceful inside. The keeper feels how endurance settles in the body as warmth, gathering quietly at the core. The routine tasks may go unnoticed by others, but for the one who performs them, each repetition reinforces a foundation of trust, not just in the structure, but in themselves, in their ability to continue even as the winds rage on. There is a dignity in such unseen persistence. No one will praise the keeper for checking hinges or mopping a leak, but these acts matter most when storms gather. They are investments in safety, in stability, and in the sense of well-being that keeps panic at bay. Rather than longing for recognition, the keeper finds quiet pride in the knowledge that they are the reason the light stays steady, night after night. As lightning flashes and shadows dance along the walls, the keeper remembers past nights, each storm a teacher in patience and fortitude. Some lessons were hard-earned, shaping a resilience learned only in repetition. The rituals that seemed mundane, winding the clock, cleaning the lens now, reveal themselves as steady companions, giving structure to uncertainty and proof that persistence is often the strongest kind of courage. Outside, the sea thrashes, relentless in its fury. But inside, the keeper watches the oil lamp burn with unwavering focus. The energy spent on small, consistent actions is never wasted, for it transforms chaos into calm. The lamp's glow becomes a symbol of endurance, the kind that flickers but never fades, continuing to offer guidance and warmth through each long hour of the storm's assault. Endurance does not often look impressive. It can feel slow and repetitive, sometimes invisible even to oneself. But as the lighthouse keeper well knows, it is the cumulative effort of countless ordinary nights that forges the strength to face extraordinary storms. With each steady breath and task completed, the keeper honors this truth, letting the quiet power of repetition settle more deeply into their bones. Pausing by a rain-streaked window, the keeper is struck by a soft gratitude for the shelter the lighthouse provides. These walls have witnessed every fear and doubt, yet have always stood firm. In moments of solitude, the keeper leans on these reliable supports, finding reassurance in what endures. It is a gentle reminder that sometimes survival is success enough, and silent persistence is its own quiet form of. The wind howls louder, yet the keeper's heart beats in its own steady tune. Throughout the night, survival becomes less about overcoming, and more about allowing oneself to be carried by each small, repeated comfort. In tending to chores, in breathing through each gust, the keeper keeps an inner lamp burning as surely as the one in the tower, making space for hope to endure within. As hours pass slowly, the keeper feels a connection with others who have faced storms both literal and figurative. Endurance, they realize, weaves quietly through every human story, threading stability through fear, hope through uncertainty. The keeper honors all who keep watch in the unseen hours, who hold steady not for reward, but because showing up, night after night, holds the world together in ways others may never notice. The storm enters its fiercest phase, but the keeper's sense of self remains grounded. There is no bravado in this endurance, only a willingness to repeat the necessary tasks over and over until the pressure lifts. This resistance to giving up, practiced through countless storms before, becomes its own kind of comfort, a personal contract to continue, no matter how loudly the wind may roar outside. Turning from the window, the keeper gently tends the fire, the crackle of embers providing a small but meaningful assurance against the darkness. Warmth glows in the hearth, echoing the warmth that builds from showing up for oneself again and again. The keeper understands now that endurance offers a quiet invitation to trust in slow progress, to believe in small comforts, and to let routine become resilience. From the journal's pages, words spill softly, unhurried lines about strength found in repetition and solace taken from consistency. There is no need for grand revelations. Tonight simply an honoring of the truth that carrying on with care and consciousness changes everything. The keeper thanks the storm for reminding them that even when nothing else can be controlled, commitment to presence remains within reach. Fatigue settles in the muscles, but the mind stays steady, guided by the knowledge that storms lessen with time. The keeper circles the lantern room for the 100th time, gratitude blooming for the discipline to persist. Each turn around the light feels sacred, an affirmation that effort counts, even when unnoticed. The steady rhythm, the silent steps, all coalesce into a soft but unbreakable strength that endures long after the wind rushes through every gap. But inside, warmth lingers as a direct result of so much silent effort. Endurance, the keeper realizes, is less about resisting the storm and more about creating calm within. It is a form of love, a devotion to the world's safety, even when the world fails to notice. Tonight, the lighthouse's glow is powered as much by persistence as by Oilan's enduring signal in the wild, wet dark. As dawn's faint shadow begins its patient return, the keeper acknowledges the essential paradox of storms. They force a focus on essentials: warmth, safety, care. Endurance, forged in these hours, is a testament to the power of what does not waver, even as the world outside rages. The keeper knows that in every life, storms will pass, and the patience shown during dark times shapes the gentleness carried in. With each heartbeat, the keeper recalls that endurance is often uncelebrated, but always necessary. In surviving another wild night, they add an unspoken chapter to their companionship with the sea, the wind, and themselves. The next storm will come, as all storms do, but inside, a quiet faith grows, a faith in one's own ability to remain, to repeat, to endure gently until peace returns, as it always does. As the last rumble of thunder fades, the keeper sits in near silence. Endurance has carried them through yet another trial, not with fanfare, but with small, nearly unnoticed acts of care. In honoring their own consistency, the keeper senses a quiet pride swell the deep, satisfied breath of someone who has held steady through the fiercest of winds. The world outside softens, and within, peace slowly unfolds. Now, with the storm subsiding, the keeper looks out at the glimmering dawn. All that endures, they realize, is not the violence of the night, but the resilience that meets it with steady presence. The chapter closes honoring silent fortitudia, reminder that ordinary persistence shapes safety for all. The keeper's watch continues, humble and unseen, and the quiet power of endurance will carry both keeper and listener safely toward. Chapter 9. Recognizing quiet strength. The storm has now faded, leaving behind a hush that gently wraps the lighthouse in peace. In this moment of calm, you notice the simple, persistent actions that keep everyone safe. Small rituals and choices that rarely draw attention, but silently sustain. The keeper moves through quiet routines, and their presence is a steady comfort, invisible yet essential, sheltering others while receiving no. As you rest, you realize how much value lives in these uncelebrated acts. The strength that holds lives together isn't always dramatic sometimes. It is the gentle unfolding of care, again and again. Invisible effort, soft words spoken with patience, and daily choices that nurture rather than demand recognition. In the keeper's story, you see a gentle reminder. Powerful impact can be. The lamp above still glows against retreating darkness. Its glow continues not because of applause, but through dependable devotion. Small checks, routine winding, careful watching as rain trickles down the glass. This isn't the work of performance, but the humble rhythm of showing up, of being vigilant for others' sake. And as you watch, you sense yourself reflected in this quiet strength that perseveres without asking to be seen. Perhaps you remember moments in your own life when your efforts went unnoticed. The early morning preparation, the silent comfort you gave, the support you offered without being asked. Like the keeper in the lighthouse, you too have held spaces of safety for others. These contributions may not gather crowds, but they build a foundation of trust and peace, touching lives in ways that are lasting and true. The world often moves fast, rewarding noise and showmanship, yet the keeper's way whispers a quieter lesson. Value exists just as much in the hands that soothe, the voices that comfort, and the routines that keep chaos at bay. As the wind slows outside, you begin to honor the invisible labors in your own story, appreciating how your steady presence, though unsung, brings stability and kindness to those around you. Thunder lingers far off, now a kind memory instead of a looming threat. Inside, the air carries warmth from sustained career, kind of invisible shelter that only grows through repeated, intentional action. The keeper's footsteps echo softly, reminding you that what looks ordinary can actually be remarkable when considered with gentle eyes. This chapter becomes a gentle encouragement to value your own hidden contributions. It is easy to overlook the quiet work you do, to brush aside patterns of patience and endurance because they rarely bring applause. Yet, as you listen to the keeper's gentle watch, let yourself notice those moments in your past day or week when you offered kindness, steadied others, or chose calm when it was needed most. Each is a quiet act of strength, deserving a moment of inward recognition. Routine often forms the backbone of safety. The keeper knows each task so well, it appears effortlesser. Hands steadying the lamp, a quick glance at the clock, a refill of oil, a journal note to record shifts in the wind. These gestures echo the patterns in your own life. The way you tend to needs, big and small, and create gentle order, often without reward. In this, you honor the practice. Invisible care is seldom acknowledged. Yet, what happens when you take a moment to pause and truly see the effects of your care? Perhaps a friend rests easier, a family member feels understood, or a simple smile shifts someone's day. Just like the lighthouse whose beam reaches out over waves seen, only when needed your actions ripple out gently, sustaining others even when you forget to notice your own helping light. The keeper's solitude is not empty. It is filled with purpose and gentle integrity. Watching storms come and go, ensuring the beam stays bright, handling small repairs with quiet competency. You begin to understand that value is not always loud. Feeling your own heart steady in the softness of these moments, you realize quiet strength is not only present, but deeply essential, both for yourself and everyone you care for. Sometimes, your truest contributions are carried out on autopilot, waking before dawn, listening without judgment, keeping promises, comforting during difficult times. These are the acts that rarely warrant ovation, yet they matter most of all. The keeper's watchfulness becomes a mirror for your own reliability, inviting you to look kindly upon quiet acts that uphold relationships, homes, and communities. Rain slows from a torrent to a gentle patter, and the lighthouse stands serene in its strength. Within this calm, the keeper allows for a rare, smilier moment of self-acknowledgement, knowing their watch has made passage safe for others. Consider how you, too, might grant yourself a pause to recognize what you carry, what you persist through, and the steadying you offer simply by being here, night after night. Recognition does not always require trophies or headlines. Sometimes it is a quiet nod to your inner resilience, the comfort you bring just by being present, the hope stirred by your reliability. The keeper's story becomes a radiant metaphor. You do not have to perform for your worth to exist. Your consistency is already a gift, and acknowledging it tonight is a gentle act of self-honor, a soft celebration of patience, care. If your mind drifts to doubts, wondering if your quiet work matters, or if anyone notices, remember that the most crucial beams of light shine beyond what you see. Someone far away feels safer because of your steadiness. The lighthouse reminds you that recognition does not always arrive from the outside. Sometimes the most meaningful applause is a deep exhale, an inner sense of assurance blooming softly within your chest. Imagine the keeper, alone but never lonely, because purpose fills solitude with gentle meaning. Their every step, every watchful look out to sea, is guided not by audience, but by deep intention. In honoring your daily efforts, those rituals that seem small yet accumulate into safety and trust, you create a sanctuary in your own life as well. You become, in quiet truth, a keeper of your world's light. The keeper pauses beside the glowing lamp, hand hovering just above its steady glow. They close their eyes for a brief moment, remembering nights past and storms weathered, both literal and unspoken. The routine is unchanged, yet each action tonight feels a fraction softer, informed by gratitude. There is power in such reflection, in acknowledging the practices that have carried you and those you love through many difficult times. Now you are encouraged to reframe your view of success. Can you see that quiet maintenance, gentle support, and invisible strength are not traits to minimize, but gifts to recognize? True resilience is not in racing or striving, but in persisting with calm commitment. Like the keeper with their patient ritual, every small act you complete without fanfare builds a legacy others rely on, even when you are unaware of its rely on. As gentle light begins to return to the horizon, you notice how the world transforms by degree, not by spectacle. The rain tapers to a hush, and the lighthouse returns to its restful rhythm. Here in this moment, you can honor the grace in small things, the slow repair, the careful tending, the silent encouragement you offer. Each carries immense value, creating stability that others feel but may never see. Whenever self-doubt threatens to diminish your sense of worth, revisit this lighthouse within your memory. Let the keeper's presence remind you that true effort is never wasted, even if it passes unspoken. Every kind word, every patient gesture, every vigil kept builds safety and comfort. You don't need a stage or spotlight, you only need the awareness that your steadfastness is both worthy and needed. You may wish for more obvious signs of appreciation, for someone to name the value you add. Know that, even in a world built for spectacle, quiet contributions resonate, serving as anchors, guiding lights, gentle reminders that presence alone brings comfort. Tonight, you become the keeper for yourself, noticing how your own reliable effort has shaped the lives of those around you, even when gratitude is silent. There is a softness in routine that few recognize, the careful stacking of days, the way small choices shape gentle safety. With the storm gone, the air clears, leaving freshness and peace in its place. The keeper's work is not over, but a new calm infuses each step. So too, with each day brings another chance to care quietly for yourself and others, to honor your efforts, and to gather strength from within. Let this story settle gently in your memory, reminding you that every small act of care leaves an indelible mark. Honoring quiet strength is not only about surviving difficult moments, but about noticing the smoother days, the peaceful hours following storms when gratitude for your own reliability can bloom. Tonight, as you prepare for rest, allow yourself a moment of self-congratulation, knowing that your efforts have mattered, are seen, and form the foundation for lasting change and comfort, both for yourself and for those you love. As the lighthouse glows against thinning clouds and dawn stretches across calm water, you rest deeper, acknowledging every gentle act you've completed, those silent gifts woven into the days behind you. Like the keeper in this story, you hold a light steady, shaping safe passage for yourself and others. Let this sense of recognition remain with you as sleep nears, wrapping you in warmth, assurance, and quiet, strengthening hope for tomorrow. Chapter 10. Carrying the Light Within. The sky softens as night falls away, and a hush drapes itself over the lighthouse. Long after storms have faded, the keeper sits beside the lamp, soaking in a final moment of warmth. The first fragile rays of dawn slip quietly across the floor, promising renewal. Here, the long night ends not with applause, but with a gentle breath, inviting you to reflect in this peaceful calm. Inside the tower, quiet now reigns. The keeper places tired hands on knees, feeling the deep satisfaction of a task faithfully tended. Breaths come slowly, matching the rhythm of distant waves. Through the glass, a blush of sun emerges, painting the world in hope. This hush after the storm is soft and real. It's a space for gratitude, a chance to honor the invisible work of calm perseverance carried all night. Chapter 10. Carrying the Light Within. Outside, dew begins to gather on windswept stone. The lamp's gentle glow fades as daylight grows bolder, but the keeper feels no sadness. Instead, there is a steady sense of fulfillment, quiet pride that only comes from meeting one's duty, however small. Rain-soaked walls dry slowly, and with each passing moment, dawn weaves peace through every crack and corner. In this tender hour, the challenges of the night feel distant, softened by the arrival of morning. The keeper stands and stretches, feeling aches born from steady vigilance, but also the lightness that blooms from honest purpose. The lighthouse now almost silent holds echoes of wind and rain, but they're gentle now, woven into memory. Each sound, each silence, becomes part of a larger story of devotion and endurance. As you listen, notice the simple satisfaction in the keeper's pause. All night, care was given not to grand moments, but to the humble act of keeping a lamp burning. Through uncertainty and storm, the light guided distant ships perhaps never seen, but always hoped for. That same quieting presence now fills the room, settling into the keeper's bones and gently encouraging you to trust your own humble efforts. Chapter 10. Carrying the Light Within. The lamp's steady glow becomes a memory, yet its influence continues, much like the subtle marks of kindness we leave behind. The lighthouse's peace now lingers in the air, and the keeper's small ritual steadying, checking, closing the journal bring closure to the night's labor. To rest comfort in completion, in knowing that showing up with care, however, invisible truly matters. Through the open window comes a cool, gentle breeze scented with fresh beginnings. The keeper breathes it in, allowing fatigue to soften as morning settles. Today's work lies ahead, but for this moment there is only gratitude and rest. The light carried all night will stay, now tucked quietly within. You too can hold this peace, knowing that slow determination and gentle intention build the strongest foundation. With sunrise, solitude shifts from necessity to precious gift. The keeper, once alone with endless dark, now feels the companionship of daylight and the silent acknowledgement of ships passing safely by. You're reminded how some of your greatest efforts happen without audience or recognition yet. Their impact, like the lamp's beam, is both real and lasting. Rest now, feeling that affirmation in the deep calm settling. Chapter 10. Carrying the Light Within. Slowly, the keeper lowers the heavy lampshade, a final act as sacred as lighting it hours before. The beam has done its work. The world is just a little safer and softer as a result. It's a quiet triumphone, shaped by repetition, by discipline, and by the heart's choice to keep showing up. Outside, gulls call amid growing light, signaling you may see your own challenges reflected in this gentle closure. What lamps have you tended quietly? What storms have you weathered while others slept? Let yourself feel recognized, not for dramatic victories, but for steadfastness in the ordinary. As the keeper closes tired eyes, imagine the satisfaction in your chest or heart beating steadily with the knowledge that presence, not performance, shines longest in the pre-dawn hush. The keeper's footsteps echo softly on the spiral stairs, leading downward toward rest. Dawn light falls through stained glass panels, painting brief pools of color onto stone. Each step marks the end of another night's responsibility. Yet, the lessons linger long after. So too, your quiet efforts, consistent, compassionate, often unseen, continue to illuminate your world, guiding others gently in. Chapter 10. Carrying the Light Within. Sitting for a moment beside the closed lamp, the keeper reflects on a night spent in service, a gift given freely to those who pass in darkness. Therese pride, but it's soft, humble, like the morning mist rolling inland. You are invited to rest in this feeling of accomplishment, to carry the lighthouse's gentle steadiness as protection, comfort, and hope, no matter what tomorrow may bring. In this tranquil conclusion, let your breath ease and your worries dissolve, knowing the example of the lighthouse keeper is yours to follow. No matter how unnoticed your tasks, no matter how isolated at times you feel, persistence threads a golden line through even the longest nights. Sleep with the knowledge that your gentle repetition, your presence creates ripples reaching far into lives you may never meet. The keeper finally sinks into a simple chair, body wrapped in warmth, mind slow with satisfaction. All tension from the night evaporates in the growing light. You're reminded that rest is an earned gift, a vital part of steadying your own lamp for another day. Let gratitude for your endurance settle softly within, grounding and restoring. The world's demands will wait. For now, let stillness be enough. Chapter 10. Carrying the Light Within. The lighthouse fades into the hush of dawn, surrounded by silvered grass and wind-caressed stones. You carry with you the memory of rain on glass, the comfort of measured footsteps, the protection of steady light. These aren't just images. They are invitations, reminders that your quiet resolve offers more to the world than you may ever realize. Let hope anchor you. As you drift closer to sleep, imagine the keeper's weary smile, shaped by the certainty that every act of care, however small, matters. Gentle routines echo through the body long after storms pass. Trust in this process. Let your own light, tended quietly and persistently, be enough. Feel solace in the knowledge that gentleness changes more than noise ever could, supporting both yourself and those you welcome into your light. The dawn brings clarity. You're a keeper, too. You tend lamps in the form of kind words, honest efforts, and patient attention. The storms you've faced may not look like crashing waves, yet their force leaves you changed. Let your breath deepen as you recognize your own resilience, built not from showy gestures, but from that rare courage to continue a lesson held close and radiant inside your chest. Chapter 10. Carrying the Light Within. Feel the world outside beginning again, invited by the lighthouse's silent promise of safety. In your own life, new beginnings will come quietly, often on the heels of simple, steady routine. You have learned the art of gentle persistence, the kind that shapes futures. Carry this calm into sleep and into the days ahead, confident in your ability to offer light wherever you are needed. The keeper's lamp may dim, but the warmth it spread remains just as your gentle efforts linger and lift those around you in ways you can't always see. Tonight, acknowledge this truth. Your kindness has a lasting reach. Sleep peacefully, wrapped in reassurance and belonging, knowing that your patient, caring spirit has brightened unseen paths. This is your quiet legacy, and it's more valuable than any. Let your own story gently intertwine with that of the lighthouse keeper. Remember, solitude isn't emptiness. It is fertile ground for meaning. Let go of pressures for constant visibility, and instead embrace the reassurance of being quietly, steadily present. In sleep, allow yourself this gift of rest, carrying the lighthouse's example as encouragement and silent applause for every measured, mindful. Chapter 10. Carrying the Light Within. Clouds drift away, revealing a sky awakening in pale gold. The keeper rests now, trusting that the tower stands firm and that their care was enough. In this final image, draw comfort for yourself. See your own acts of service in this light trust, your steady heart. Honor your measured pace, and know that gentle persistence illuminates the darkness, both for you and the world beyond. Sleep arrives as the keeper's last thought settles her. Simple gratitude for having served. Let this gratitude be yours as well, knowing that you are enough, even and especially in your quiet moments. As the day begins outside, your work is done for now. Rest deeply, carrying the lighthouse's lesson within, that small, steady actions build not just safety for others, but hope and peace for yourself. Breathe in the serenity of the lighthouse's dawn. Know that each breath, each gentle routine, is part of a lineage stretching far beyond this tower. You are part of this, upholding others with your unseen strength. As you surrender to calm rest, imagine the tower's stone walls, the lingering warmth from the lamp, the fresh promise in coastal air, and trust that this quiet impact endures, shaping soft, strong futures. Chapter 10. Carrying the Light Within. The story closes with a gentle farewell. Sun rising over water, keeper at rest. Let the lighthouse remain with you as a steady symbol beacon for slow, intentional living, for patience in solitude, and for the deep fulfillment of simply showing up. Sleep well, carrying this quiet courage forward. Your presence, like the faint glow lingering long after dawn,